Hey everyone, so here we are today on a very stormy snowmageddon day. That is mostly the reason I'm doing this video today, because I am trapped inside my house and it is snowing outside. But I've also been thinking about finally starting this winter series since we are in winter, and a lot of you have been asking still my opinions on Canada Goose and questions about winter coats in general. So here we are. I am starting off this series with doing a review. We are back at it again. If you guys have questions on or want me to do reviews on certain styles, whether it's Canada Goose, whether it's North Face, or whether it's whatever brand that's out there, please leave those suggestions and comments in the comment section down below. Like this video, that'll let me know, that'll tell me what you guys want to see next. Let me know what Canada Goose styles you're interested in hearing or seeing about down below. I will go to the store, I will buy the coat, and I will do the review. I will keep my opinions once we get there. I know I've made opinions in the past about Canada Goose specifically. When the Canada Goose videos come out, we'll talk more about it then. But here today, I wanted to start off this series with a coat that I think is fabulous. I think it's fairly well made. I think it's a reasonably priced coat, and I think that it is highly underrated. When I started to do research on this series, I genuinely wanted to understand and kind of dive back into this world and get myself up to date with what's available out there for winter coats. I was shocked by how it seems like the standard that has been created for winter coats is $1,000. I don't think you need to spend $1,000 on a winter coat, and I think that my research reflects that. You don't need to spend $1,000 to get a good or decent, even decent winter coat. You have to spend, I think, generally in the ballpark, you'll be spending probably around $100. You can spend $100 and get a decent coat to about $400 to $500. That's just my opinion. I've been proven wrong. But today I genuinely wanted to dive into, again, a company that I feel is underrated, which is Aritzia. Now, this video is not sponsored. Nobody paid me to do this. I spent my own money. I bought this coat on Boxing Day, though. If any of you are interested, this coat is actually still, certain styles and certain colors are still on sale, ranging from about $150 to about $250. That is ranging for the price for the original style that I'm going to be talking about today. I think the longer styles are a couple $100 more. So again, you're not going to be spending more than about $500 with Aritzia for a winter coat, which I think is fabulous. And for those of you who do not agree with animal products or a use of animals in your products in any way, shape, or form, Aritzia actually makes a vegan coat, and I consider buying it and doing a review on it. So if any of you vegans out there are interested in seeing a review on a vegan coat, let me know, because I will happily do that for you all. Now, again, this coat caught me by surprise, mostly because of the color. Now, it is sitting here down below, and I think I'm going to fetch it so I can just bring this gorgeous color into view. This red caught me, and I fell in love with it, caught my eye, fell in love with it immediately. Now, I love this color, and I also love the magenta, pinky, purple color that they have created. I think it's a gorgeous color. I honestly love it so much. But I figured since I already have a pink puffer, I'll get something that I don't actually have. And this color, this red, is like my red. It's not too orange, it's not orangey, it's not too dark, it's not too bluey or purple. It's like the right tone of red. And because I am pale all year round, this color flatters me. So I couldn't say no, especially once I tried it on. I fell in love with it. I waited, a handful of months, and here she is. As I mentioned earlier, I bought this coat on sale online from Aritzia for I think the original price for this original Super Puff is $250. It was $225 when I purchased it online, so I got some discount, and then I got free shipping, and with the tax, I think it ended up being about $260, $250, around that price range with the tax. So I did save some money there, and you can still save some money because, this coat, one of the many reasons I love this coat, and the reason I wanted to talk about it, is that this is Aritzia's. I feel like I should formally introduce this coat, and I will formally do that once I actually put it on. This is Aritzia Super Puff, the original style, original coat, original length. This guy, one of the many reasons I love it, comes in about 100 different colors, from metallics to neons to like fluorescent colors to neutrals and nudes. That's one of the reasons I love this coat. You can't go wrong with the style. It's a basic style. I think I'm finding more and more women are getting over the idea of like showing off their figure in wintertime, because the reality is when it's like -20 outside and the snow's up to your knees, I mean, you want to look cute, but I think mostly what stands out tends to be the color, but that's just my opinion. And I've been told that, and I've heard this comment countless times, that apparently Torontonians only just wear black. So here I am in flaming red. This coat, again, comes in a variety of different colors. If I could, and if I had the closet space, I probably would have bought this coat in 5 other colors. That pink, there's some really pretty nude colors. The metallics are so much fun. They're so fluorescent. And I think they also make this coat in that like super fluorescent, like if you shine a light on it, it's like a moonbeam. You just get blinded by it. I wanted it in that fabric because I thought it would just be fabulous. But I stuck with the red, classic red. I don't have it in my closet. It works. Now, the funny thing to me is, here's a little bit of an anecdote. I remember growing up as a kid and my mom buying me a very similar styled coat to this, and I just hated it because it had no shape, it had no style, or at least I didn't think so at the time. It didn't show off my figure, and that's the reason I really hated it at the time. And it's ironic because, you know, 20 years later, here we are. I'm standing in the bloody coat that I used to hate. But honestly, this coat, another reason I fell in love with it the second I touched it and put my hands on it, not only because of the color, but the fabric that Aritzia has come out with is so incredibly soft. I have become a little bit nervous, and I am fully aware with the things that I rub up against, because I don't believe, or at least it doesn't feel like this coat has, I think it has a secondary liner on the inside, but the fabric of this coat in general is quite soft, but it feels very thin. It's also incredibly light. It's not heavy, which is another winner for me. I do think there is a secondary liner on the inside of this, or at least it kind of feels like there is. So if you were to tear into this, theoretically, your feathers and everything isn't going to come flying out, or at least I hope it wouldn't. I haven't had any issues. I've had this coat now for I think about 2 weeks, if I'm not mistaken, and I've been wearing it for the most part every single day since. I haven't had any tears yet or any issues with that. I have rubbed up, like I take public transit in the morning, so I mean I'm rubbing up against people, I'm rubbing up against the bus and stuff in general, so there's been no issues with that so far. But overall, again, very light, incredibly soft. Now, the original Super Puff is a very relaxed fit. It doesn't have any crazy shape or any crazy, like it's not fitted like a glove. This is meant to be a very relaxed style. I got a size medium. This is a medium. I'm actually going to I've tightened up the strings, and I will tell you why in just a moment, but there is adjustments here at the bottom to tighten up the bottom of this coat. It is just kind of like a boxy fit. It's not meant to be, again, super hourglass shape. It's not meant to fit you like a glove. It's supposed to be a relaxed fit. In the arms, I feel like I have space for a hoodie. I've worn this with a hoodie, and comfortably. I wear this, I got the medium because I had tried on the small. It was a little bit too tight in the arms and in the shoulders, and I knew right away there's no way I was gonna get a small because I knew I wouldn't be able to wear anything underneath it. And I know there's that, I know because I used to pimp this mentality out that ideally if the coat is warm enough you don't need to wear a million layers underneath, but that's just, it's unrealistic. It's not a real mentality to have when it comes with winter coats, because you're not, unless you're standing outside and working outside, you're not wearing this all day long, and the second you take it off you can't just be running around in a tank top or a t-shirt or a mesh shirt. Ideally, on a regular basis, I'm wearing a hoodie or some sort of a knit sweater underneath this. So I find that the medium fits comfortably. I have a lot of space underneath, overall, through the shoulders and through the arms, and then through the bottom of the coat. I have quite wide hips. So yes, I'm quite happy with the fact that I have a coat at this length. It's a little bit longer in the back, as you can see that it scoops back and it doesn't hug or it's not feeling super tight. Now this coat does range in quite a wide size, and because it's a relaxed fit, I feel like the extra large would be quite big enough, or would be wide enough, or I don't know how to explain this. I think the extra large would still fit quite a wide range of people because of the fact that this is supposed to be a relaxed fit. So for those ladies who tend to wear a little bit bigger, let me know how you feel about this coat and how it fits, because I'm really genuinely curious to know what the range is for people in the extra large. Is that a big enough range, or is it not? Please let me know, because I'm genuinely interested. This also goes down to a 3 extra small. For those of you who are quite petite, just so you know, this can fit you as well. Now, let's talk about the features of this coat while I am not out of breath and steaming up yet, because it is quite warm. I do have to say it's quite warm, and we'll get to that in a second. Let's cover the features. Now, as I mentioned earlier, there are drawstrings on the bottom, and the reason I had them tightened up is because I have found over the last couple of days, when the wind does pick up, the wind goes right through the bottom and up through the coat. So I have tightened it up so that it is more snug around my hips, so that wind isn't coming up, so I'm not getting that cold draft, because you will feel it. So generally you do want it to be a little bit more snug throughout the bottom, or at least if it's a longer style, then the longer it is, obviously the less of that wind is going to come up. But because this is about a hip length, just past the below like crotch length coat, there is still a vulnerability of wind getting up. So just so you all know, that is a thing. You may want to tighten this up. And that's the one thing I like, the fact that they did put those adjustments there. And it's not just one, it's not just, you know, it's 2, and it's not here at the zipper that it's on the sides, because you just need it to tighten up here, and it does a really good job of tightening up throughout the whole area. And I think that over time wear and tear, thinking about it, you don't want to have it close to the zipper, because I feel like there's already enough like everyday motions going on around the zipper and the button that there isn't really space here for those drawstrings, so it's quite wise to put them on the side. Now moving to the sleeves are probably easily the next most important thing, because it does give you quite a lot of coverage, and it's pretty important coverage. The fleece, I'm gonna roll this down and see how far this fleece goes. So here you go. This is as far as the fleece and the sleeve actually goes. It is an incredibly it's incredibly soft fleece. It's an incredibly soft fleece. It is nicely fitted around the wrist. It doesn't feel like I'm suffocating though. It does feel nice and soft. It's super plush. I quite love it. And then the actual puff sleeve comes down to a very good length. It's wide enough. The one thing that I appreciate about this sleeve is that it's still wide enough that when you put a glove on, you know when you have to like fuss around with getting your glove and your sleeve well together? Well, that's the one thing I've appreciated. Let me see, are my gloves anywhere here? Damn it. I don't think I have my gloves in here. I should have brought my gloves. But when you put your glove on, generally you feel like, I've done this growing up many, many years. My mom would always put my fleece sleeve or whatever extra sleeve, the tight sleeve, around your gloves. Honestly, I find when I put my glove on, because this is so well fitted around the wrist, the glove goes on, goes over top of the fleece, and it fits. There's so much room for the glove to sit on the inside of this sleeve that you don't really have to finick and do all of that. So that is another amazing feature about this coat, that the sleeves are thought through, they fit well, you don't have to fuss around with them in the morning. Honestly, who has time for that? I don't. So another great feature are the sleeves. Now, one of my favorite features of this coat, I should say, is the way this coat closes up. I never understood the concept or the idea behind Velcro on winter coats. I think it's a terrible idea. I think it's archaic. It's not ideal. I think it's a terrible idea through and through. I don't know if magnets are a better solution, but honestly, I can't stand Velcro on winter coats. So that's why I love that this coat has buttons, because buttons are super easy. They're really easy. You don't have to think about it. You just zip up your coat, as so. In the mornings when I'm half asleep, waiting for the elevator, you zip it up, and while I have my puffy gloves on or my mittens on, all I gotta do is snap down the buttons. Now the buttons don't necessarily, especially I've been finding the bottom ones, I mean, just as I did it now, They are a little bit finicky. They don't snap down necessarily always so easily, but I think it's just because you gotta harden those abs and you gotta press it down. But they do hold. I haven't noticed anything as far as them coming undone. And you do want to snap down. You always want to have a flap like this to cover the zipper, because this is another way that wind can get through, especially when it's super, super windy. So you always want to have an outer flap to cover and protect the zipper. Overall, I really like the simplicity of the zipper. It's pretty wide. It's not a heavy duty metal zipper. I don't like metal zippers on winter coats because they have cut me. Don't appreciate it. My hands are already dry enough as it is, and they're bleeding on their own. I don't need more blood coming out of me. So as far as the zipper goes, it's a great plastic zipper, or at least it feels like it. It's very simple. It doesn't catch as easily. I feel like this kind of zipper is going to last quite long enough. And the one thing I just realized, it's wide enough. The actual zipper itself is wide enough. So if you're buying this, moms, dads, if you're buying this coat for your kids, which I highly think you should, because it's a incredibly reasonably priced coat that they're not going to grow out of immediately, because it is a little bit more of a relaxed fit. They can attach keychains or fun, cute things, whatever the kids are into nowadays, onto, or puffball or whatever. They can attach something fun to their zipper, so it's wide enough for accessories. Now, I'm going to take this coat off because I am getting a little bit warm, but we are going to talk about the hood, because I think the hood is important to talk about. I will put it back on because I think it is important to talk about as far as how I feel about the fit, because probably the one thing I am not a fan of when it comes to this hood is that, or this coat in general, is that I don't think that the hood is big enough. But overall, I think the way this hood is designed, it's got a zipper on the back, you can zip it right off, but this is another thing that a lot of companies miss when it comes to designing hoods. The inside, oh, well, I was just, talking smack about Velcro, and here we are. There's Velcro on this coat, and I didn't even realize it. But the one thing that I do appreciate is the fact that there is a flap that snugly holds down the flap of the hood to the jacket. So it's not just like, I always see that and then the hood's like half hanging off of people in public, and nothing drives me more insane than a hood that's flipped inside out or is barely hanging on by a thread as people are walking by and it's flapping in the wind. I don't know why. It's a pet peeve. I'm OCD about weird things. And here we are. So I'm gonna put this guy back in. For accessories like this where the Velcro is hidden away and I don't have to see it, I think I can live with it, even though I just discovered it. I think I can live with it. I think I'm still gonna wear the coat. It's still super soft and still super warm. So as far as the adjustments, it doesn't have any sort of adjustment in the back, because honestly, I don't think it does. For this style of hood, it doesn't need it. There are 2 drawstrings in the front, which I think are wise and are important because you want to cocoon yourself, especially on those super windy days. Now, I do feel like this hood is not big enough. I am a proponent of large hoods because I have a big head and I have a lot of hair, and I like to do my hair in the mornings. And even just in the mornings, every morning I'm wearing big headphones, and sometimes I'm wearing a toque. So I do feel like this hood isn't necessarily big enough to contain all of that. Even my headphones, I don't feel like it's big enough. So I do wish that this hood was a little bit bigger. But honestly, especially on days like today where it's snowing like crazy, it's completely wet outside and it's super windy, to be able to cocoon yourself into the hood, this is perfect. Let's see if I can do this. Okay, let's do this. Cocooning. Oh my god. Okay, yep. I'm gonna have so much makeup on the collar of this jacket, and now I can't get myself out. Oh my god, am I actually stuck? That would be hilarious. I'm not cutting this out. Okay, I'm free. Oh my god, let me out. Yeah, okay, so I'm not a huge fan of the hood. I do feel like it could be a little bit bigger. That's just my opinion. It's not the be-all, end-all flaw. I'm still keeping this hood on because on those super windy days, it does add a layer of a little bit of protection, but I honestly do feel like this coat and this style and this design could benefit with a little bit of a bigger hood, just to have more space for hats, for earmuffs, for headphones and all that. Now, migrating away from the back to the front as I zipped it up all the way. I am a huge fan of a high collar because sometimes I don't wear a scarf, but my neck is very sensitive. It's like the second I get hit with cold wind, I immediately get a sore throat. So the fact that there is a high collar, and you could tell I've been wearing this coat for a long time because my face is rubbing off on it, literally. It's nice to have that extra layer of protection, again, that's going to keep you nice and warm and keep you safe. And I am sweating up a storm. Now, going into the inside of this coat, get some air in here. Going to the inside of this coat, the one feature that I've grown to love is this pocket on the inside. It's a really nice deep pocket, so you can get your enormous iPad phone, size phone into here. Without having to worry about it, or your keys or phone or wallet or money or whatever. You can have it stashed away in here safely. But the other feature that I did want to notice, it's not really a feature, it's more of a design thing. The one thing that I really love about Aritzia is the fact that whoever designed the inside of this coat, A+ on type, also just A+ on design. I don't know, something about the design and the printing and all these little features and these details, something about it I quite love. And the fact that there's all this information on the inside is nice, and all the tags are packed away. They're not in your face. Now, seeing these tags, usually none of us look at these tags and don't really think about what the tags are or what they say. Nobody really reads them. But I want to get into some of the more technical aspects and the material aspects of this coat, so I hope that for those of you who I'm going to lose at this point and click away, I hope you consider buying this coat. I've been wearing it, again, for about 2 weeks, just a little over 2 weeks, and I'm in love with it. It's been incredibly warm. I don't feel any wind cutting through this coat, but I do feel that you do have to tighten up the bottom of it to keep that wind out. So if I'm going to lose any of you at this point, you know, I hope that this has been helpful enough and that you consider getting this coat, and let me know. Send me photos through Instagram. Let me see which color you guys have chosen and how it fits and all that jazz, and what kind of a price you get for this coat, because again, some of them are still on sale. I checked online. Let me know. I want to see. We're going to get into the technical aspects of this coat as far as what this coat is filled with. The one thing that I found incredibly interesting, and I don't even think I noticed in my research, but I did notice, BRB, in the tags that I got that were attached to this coat. The first thing that I saw was premium goose down. Now, unless I'm mistaken, I'm going to put the baby down for a second. Unless I am mistaken, Canada Goose, unless they've changed, Canada Goose all their coats aren't actually made out of goose down, which I think is a theory and a myth that everybody believes. They're not all made out of Canada Goose down. Only the higher end ones are. I don't know if they've changed, but in years past, that was it. A lot of the coats are actually made with duck down. So to see the fact that Aritzia has gotten their hands on goose down defeats the mentality that you need to spend $1,000 on a coat with goose down. Again, this coat was $250. You don't have to spend $1,000 on goose down. Now, the interesting thing, the next thing that I saw was this tag. And not only is it cute and holographic or chrome, which is pretty, on the back of it, I started reading some of the information that they attached to it. It says, Goosefield Down, responsible down standard certified. So for any of you who are concerned or have issues, you can 9 times out of 10 track down where a company got their down from, or any of their byproducts, where they got them from. So the fact that these guys have gone out of their way to get certified and responsible goose down, I hope soothes some of those of you out there and your worries about animals being tortured or killed just for, you know, one aspect of their bodies. Here, we don't have to worry about that. It's a removable hood, which we talked about earlier. Water repellent fabric. I wouldn't say it's waterproof. I wouldn't even say that it's water resistant, though I haven't taken it out in wet weather. This kind of fabric is incredibly soft, so I don't think it would last outside in wet weather for very long. So I would not get this coat wet multiple times because it's going to ruin your down over the years, just so you all know. So it's not waterproof, it's not really even water resistant, but it's water repellent. Wind resistant fabric, I agree on that. Because of the inside panels, there are some inner panels on the inside, And again, I feel like there is a secondary panel that is separating, you know, the down from just sitting on the outside. Like, it's not just fabric, down, fabric. It feels like fabric, fabric, pocket of down, fabric, fabric. So there are a couple layers of fabric within this coat that are going to hopefully keep the down from escaping, which I will comment on in a moment, and from wind getting inside. What else does it say? Quilted for an even feel of distribution of down, which is true. It's important. Again, you're not going to have all the down sitting at the bottom. It's not going to be sitting in different weird parts of the coat. That does take time. The quality and the design of a coat does take time, so it's not going to cost you $100, but it may cost you a little bit more because the design is considered where the down sits in the coat. Cozy lined pockets, which I'm happy to have been reminded because I did forget to mention that. The coat itself does have pockets in the front. They are snapped closed for easy access. Again, I love me some snap buttons. But the inside is a super soft, again, another really plush lined fleece pocket. They're really nice and deep. You can put your keys in there without thinking they're gonna fall out or slip out or any of that, so you don't have to worry about that. The other fun fact about this coat is that it's machine washable. So for all the parents out there that are consider buying this coat or looking for a coat for your kids or your teenagers or even for any female or male that wears makeup, I don't have to worry about spending X amount of dollars on sending this to the dry cleaner. I can just, 9 times out of 10, they just recommend you take off the hood, and I can throw this in the wash with some tennis balls in the dryer after the fact, but follow the instructions, which I'm sure are tucked away into this pocket because there are some specific instructions that come with cleaning down coats. Now, I can do a separate video in and of itself. If you guys are interested in knowing how to clean a down coat, let me know. Food for thought. But that does save you from having to go to the dry cleaner every week or every other week or every month because, you know, your kid jumps into some slushy mud or, you know, some slushy snow or whatever, or you brush up on your car a million times throughout the day and you get salt all over it. You do want to consider getting those stains out fairly quickly because you don't want to ruin the coat, especially with a lighter color, so that is something to factor in. But that is something to factor in. If you're going to get a lighter coat, you're not going to have to spend hundreds of dollars on dry cleaning every couple of months. You can just throw it in your wash yourself. So overall, my only concern as far as this coat goes for the long run and in general, the only flaw beyond the Velcro harding in the hood, which really exposed Velcro is usually an issue, hidden away Velcro is not. My only concern with this coat is the fact that in the last week I have noticed, and you can see here, some down has slowly started to make its way out. Now, in general, I'm not worried about it immediately, but that is something that I'm mentally factoring in, that this coat may not last me as long because the more down that comes out over time, obviously the less of it's going to be inside, which means that over time, probably over the next 4 to 5 years, that this coat isn't going to be a super puff anymore. It's going to probably break down over time because more and more down is going to come out. But unfortunately, that is the risk you take with having super fine down. This is a 700 power fill coat, which means it's the down inside of this isn't those thick feathers that you think of when you think of feathers right away. It's that super fine fluffy stuff that's under the belly usually that keeps ducks incredibly warm. That is, let me see if I'm gonna pull this sucker out. That's already made its way out. This is how tiny it is. I don't even think my camera's gonna be able to pick it up. Let's see. See that tiny white fluff? Let's see if it'll focus on it. I don't think it will. That is how fine the feathers are, and those are the feathers that are going to keep you warm. So that is really my only concern with this coat, that the feathers, I hope that they don't come out more vigorously. I mean, it's bound to happen with feathers. It happens with any feathered coat. Doesn't matter if you spend a couple $1,000s on it, unless they've put in multiple liners and multiple bags that the down sits on. It sits in within the coat. There's kind of no way of stopping it, because eventually it's just gonna migrate its way out, because it is what it is. These coats don't just stay in your closet. You wear them, you move in them, you function in them as a normal human being. So I think it's bound to happen. But it is what it is. Take it or leave it. I think that's my opinion as far as the down goes. It's not something that's worrying me. It's not something that would stop me from buying this coat again. I would definitely consider buying this coat again in different colors, just because honestly it's a pretty great coat for the price. I did want to talk about just briefly what other styles are available, because I think that is, if any of you are interested in hearing what other styles are available, that you're not just stuck with buying the original Super Puff. If the length is too long, again, it sits about crotch length, so it comes down to about here. If you want something shorter, there are shorter styles available. So I have the original. There's another one called the Shorty. I considered buying the Shorty, but once I put it on, it honestly looked like a coat that was just shrunk. It didn't fit my body. I have a longer torso and I'm fairly tall. It just didn't look right, so I ended up going with the original. There's the long, which is essentially the full length. It looks like it goes past the knee. There's a vest, and then there's also a mid length, which looks like it goes to about mid thigh. So there are other varieties, there are other options. I've always known Aritzia for having expensive coats, at least at the time while I was growing up, coming from a family that, you know, wasn't super rich. But always was conscious about money spending. There were always options, or Aritzia was always considered to be the most expensive coat, but honestly a lot of teenagers wore it because they were built really well to keep you warm. And honestly, the old coats used to weigh a couple $100 and they were super duper warm from what I understood. So as far as options, they don't just make parkas, but they do make parka styles. So if you guys, again, are interested in seeing them, please let me know. But honestly, for an everyday, on the go, super light, fabulous color, easy to wear option without feeling like, you know, it's a beautiful color and it's good. You're always going to stand out. So if you don't have the giant fur hood that you want, at least there's about 1 million colors you can choose from. So that's going to stick out. For an everyday coat, I am happy I have purchased this coat, and I'm glad I'm keeping it. I'm going to keep it. It's staying in the closet. I have made space. It's going to stay along with the, you know, coat collection. I also considered doing that video where I showed you guys my full collection of winter coats that I've acquired over the years. If you guys are interested in seeing that, again, food for thought, let me know in the comment section down below. But I think that is it. Honestly, the Aritzia Super Puff gets my thumbs up. It's A+. I think it's fairly well designed. It's a great coat. It's reasonably priced. So if you guys have any other questions, if you have any concerns, let me know. You guys can reach out in the comment section down below or via Instagram. Now, I don't know why, but most of the time I don't get notifications that I'm getting messages sent to my inbox. So just comment in the photos down below. I will make a specific photo post for this video, so if you guys have questions, you can leave them there. But mostly just leave it in the comment section down below here of this video, and I will get to them as fast as I can. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Stay warm and cozy. Stormageddon is hitting, and I'm mentally trying to prepare and consider and figure out how I'm going to watch the UFC fight and which bar is closest to me that's playing it. So I will be braving the storm, probably in my new winter coat. So again, hope you guys have a wonderful Saturday. Stay warm, and I'll see you guys later.